Hi. The poem I'd like to read for you today is called A True Poem by Lloyd Schwartz. And I chose this poem because it really kind of brought me back to the beginning of poetry for me. Back in high school when I had a Tumblr page, and I just read it, and I couldn't help but feel those emotions again of wanting an outlet to say what I wanted to say, but also being afraid of the consequences. So, here's a reading of A True Poem by Lloyd Schwartz. I'm working on a poem that's so true, I can't show it to anyone. I could never show it to anyone. Because it says exactly what I think, and what I think scares me. Sometimes it pleases me. Usually it brings misery. And this poem says exactly what I think. What I think of myself, what I think of my friends, what I think of my lover, exactly. Parts of it might please them. Some of it might scare them. Some of it might bring misery. And I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt anybody. I want everyone to love me. Still, I keep working on it. Why? Why do I keep working on it? Nobody will see it. Nobody will see it. I keep working on it even though I can never show it to anybody. I keep working on it even though someone might get hurt. This poem very much is how I felt when I was back in high school, and I just really needed an outlet to kind of release my emotions, because I'm very much a person that doesn't want to hurt people. I will go out of my way to make sure that people are very happy, and even though Tumblr is a very public place, for some reason to me it felt very private, it felt very small, and I felt like I could be who I really was and say what I wanted to say. So this poem very much reflected a lot of the same thoughts and contemplations that I felt day in and day out when I'd write my post or even write my poetry on my page. Because I knew, like the poem said, I didn't want to hurt anybody, and I wanted everyone to love me. But my poems and my posts would say exactly what I thought. And I didn't want to hurt them because of my thoughts, but it was such a great release for me that I stuck with it, and honestly, I just tried to keep it as private as I could, and every once in a while I would hold back from what I wanted to say because it would really hurt somebody, and I did not want to hurt anybody, but most of the times it kind of just was my release after a bad breakup, or after I didn't do well that day, or maybe I was feeling really happy when I was outside and I'd write something about that, but it was very much personal to me, and I very much didn't want anybody to ever see it. So some of the more literary elements, I feel like what really brought it home for me was the fact that the punctuations after every line made it sound and look kind of like an internal dialogue that someone was having with themselves. You know, they would start off by saying, because this poem says exactly what I think, it might scare me, sometimes it pleased me, usually it brings misery. Very much going back and forth, and after each and every one of those thoughts there is punctuation. At the end of every line there is either a period or a question mark, and it's very choppy, but I feel like this is what kind of goes on in our heads, and that thoughts aren't always eloquent and long. I also thought that the image of it all was probably very personal for me, and that it's probably different for everyone who's doing it, but I very much couldn't help but see what the old Tumblr newsfeed looked like and what the quotation box, and I very distinctly remember there was a title that you could put at the top, and sometimes I would get creative with the title, other times I wouldn't put one, and it just as I was reading the poem, I just saw myself contemplating whether or not I wanted to write the poem or the post that I was about to say. Also, I noticed that there was a lot of repetition, and that was not even just exact phrases, because there were, such as at the end when, they're almost convincing themselves nobody will see it, such as that's kind of sad, but then again, nobody will see it. The author or the speaker will make sure that nobody will ever see that. And they also talked about how they don't want to hurt anybody repeatedly throughout the poem. At the beginning it talks about how they were worried about what people would think of it, and they just wanted to please them. And parts of it, like it said, parts of it might please them, but not all of it. So, one last reading, A True Poem by Lloyd Schwartz. I'm working on a poem that's so true, I can't show it to anyone. I could never show it to anyone. Because it says exactly what I think, and what I think scares me. Sometimes it pleases me. Usually it brings misery. And this poem says exactly what I think. What I think of myself, what I think of my friends, what I think about my lover, exactly. Parts of it might please them. Some of it might scare them. Some of it might bring misery. And I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt anybody. I want everyone to love me. Still, I keep working on it. Why? Why do I keep working on it? Nobody will see it. Nobody will see it. I keep working on it, even though I can never show it to anybody. I keep working on it, even though someone might get hurt. Thank you.